We should be live. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, March 19th, at least in the US anyways. How's everybody doing? Not sure if you guys can tell, but my voice is a little bit hoarse today. I hope I didn't catch COVID or anything. I got the flu like last month, but I don't know what this is. My throat's scratchy. Alright, who was first in the house today? It was Coalition Gaming Chris. Stream day. Woo! Like Ric Flair. Giant Robots. Hey yo everybody, happy Wednesday. Thank you, Riley, for the new membership join. What up, Techie Tech? Sub, Scott Grammer. It's a typo. The RTX 5060 is really 1.2 gigabytes. Or terabytes. Let's see. I said, what would realistically be the highest video memory capacity in our lifetime? Assuming we're all like similarly aged, like within the next 50-ish years or so, 50, 60 years. Or at some point, are we just gonna transition to just a completely different way to run games that's not even fathomable, right? If you think about 50 years ago, I guess that would be the like 75, and you brought them a modern day graphics card. Do you think the people at the time would even know, like, would they even be able to comprehend and understand the architecture of it, right? So if you think 50 years from now, it might just be a completely different way of doing it. It could all be so small in VR headsets, kind of like in the futuristic movies that they show. But either way, just interesting stuff to think about. Our flat had tech drama. The workers at the store I go to said that Pokemon... I've been seeing a lot of Pokemon trading card drama on Reddit lately. The most recent one I saw was of a Toronto Costco, but then there was the previous one, I think it was at the Seattle Costco, of just like whenever there's a new release, people just... It's mainly scalpers, I would think, that are like just beating up other people over it. But that is not really tech drama. But I guess the vending machine scalpers, huh? I guess you mean like the Pokemon Center thingy vending machines that they have. Are they all Pokemon Centers, or is that just around where I am? Let me see if I can find that one. Let's see. Where was that post? Ah, here it is. Oh no, it got removed. No, because there was violence. This dude did like a freaking flying knee, like Ong Bak. It was pretty cool. But anyways, I wonder if everyone will crap on this card like they did the 4060, which is actually a perfectly acceptable card for 300 bucks if you can find it for that. Yeah, I have a video. Sorry, I might be clearing my throat quite a bit this stream. I will try to mute it if I can remember, but I think the 4060 is, by now I would have hoped it to be like 250 or something, right? Like 2 years after launch. Holding on to the MSRP for a card like that's not even like super in high demand. That to me, when it launched, I was fine with it being 300. Now I would say like 250 given its age. But yeah, I didn't think it was nearly as bad of a card as everybody made it out to be. And that might be discussed in a future video soon, depending on when people get their stuff in. We have a collab video coming up, and this is one of the talking points. This is a hot take, which is actually what the video collab is on, hot takes. But I think 1080p 144 FPS cards should be the new base of GPUs. 1080p 144 FPS. Yeah, I don't know what, if you were to define like the standard entry-level card, what your expectations of it should be. Because when you say base, are you talking about like entry-level, like the bare minimum that someone should strive for if they're building, let's just say a PC on a modest budget, right? So we're not talking like $200, $300, $400 budget builds. We're talking like you have 700, 800, 900 bucks. What should be the performance targets for that? 1080p, 144 FPS, and 144 FPS. See, to define this question, I think it's a little bit harder, or this requirement, because then you have to talk about, like, are we talking about in The Last of Us and Space Marine 2 and God of War? Or are we talking in the Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant? Actually, all those esports games I just named off, they can hit these numbers on like much worse hardware. So yeah, it's kind of hard to define like what the requirement is, because some games are just not optimized well and they run like crap. Like, would this requirement be for Monster Hunter Wilds, which just runs like garbage on everything? So yeah, I don't know. I would have to think about that more as to like what my definition of baseline is. Scott Grammer just bought an Intel B580 for $350 off eBay, so $100 over MSRP. But I paid for it by selling a 2-year-old 4080 for $1350, which is non-super. 2-year-old 4080 non-super for $1350. That is crazy. I mean, those launched at $1,200, but the super came out, and those were kind of always hard to get. So, I mean, if you made a profit, then yeah, who cares about the slight losses on the B580. That paid for 40 terabytes worth of hard drives, but in what 40 terabytes? Are we talking about like 8 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte, mix of 12s, 14s, and other stuff? Let me get caught up in chat. Sorry. Steve Oliver, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. What up, Droptimus? By the way, you guys, if you didn't know, a decent amount of the more recent YouTube shorts are edited by Droptimus. The stream-related ones, that's Droptimus who's doing those clip edits. So we have more in the pipeline. I'm trying to stagger them because I want to get into the algorithm before I post more of the stream-related ones. Because right now, people are going to be like, who the heck is this guy? I don't care about him talking. So I'm trying to do old videos mixed in with some of the stream ones. But yeah, Droptimus is the shorts editor. What up, Retrovet? Jensen got a new jacket. I didn't see that, actually. Let me see. Jensen at GTC 2025. Let's take a look. So this was just a day ago. Wait.
Who could have thought that?
Is this a new jacket? I don't keep track of all his jackets. This? Huh. I could have sworn I've seen him in this jacket before. Let me take a look at something. That might be the jacket that I used for reference in something. No, never mind. But why aren't you using that sponsored chair? I use the sponsored chair in a different area of the house. I'm keeping this one at this station just because it's what I've always used. My brother-in-law actually came over recently. He tried it out and he liked it a lot, and he wants to buy it from me. And I was like, let me make sure I might not need it for anything else before I potentially sell it to you at a pretty good discount. But yeah, I don't use like the nicest, best of everything that I like own or have here in the studio. Like I'm not about just using whatever the best thing that I have. I don't know why, but like when it comes to even hardware, like the hardware in my own system that I use at my personal setup, this desk setup every single day, is not the best hardware I have. I guess one thing is I don't want to get myself super used to like the high life, if that makes sense. I'm trying to remain true to brand. Adam Williams, yeah, I'm totally going to live to be 100 years old. My bet for the 5060 price will be 300 MSRP with retail. What? No. The thing about the 5060 is if it comes in at the performance of a 4060 Ti-ish, it's not gonna be so strong that there's not competition for it, you know? Like, it was kind of hard with the 5080s and 5090s, and I guess to some degree those 9070 XTs, because there was no other last-gen cards that you could buy as an alternative. But once you start getting lower in the product stack, you have old cards that could, like, is readily available in the used market. Maybe not so much new, unless, like, the 7700 XTs and 7800 XTs, those continue to be produced and sold, because those are going for like 450, 500 right now, right? So if a 5060, even if it's 12 gigabyte, comes out and can't even beat those cards, there is not going to scalp for more than 500 bucks. So I don't think it'll be that bad. I would agree with you. Why 300? If it is, you know, let's say it's got whatever 10, 15, 20% generational uplift, and it does have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which we will talk about in a bit here, then my prediction, 300 for some reason seems low for NVIDIA, you know what I'm saying? Like 300 I think would be a fine price if it does get the 15 to 20% uplift and 12 gigs of VRAM, but at that price, I think it would be too good. It would be praised too much. So NVIDIA probably wouldn't do that. Maybe they do like a 329, so like 330 to 350, if I had to randomly throw a swag at it. Who did he say he was collabing with? Oh, I can maybe show you guys. Dude, you guys are here at the stream. Let me show you. Let me show you the collab. It's also not finalized yet, but because I'm still waiting for other people. That's how collabs work. You have to wait on people. Let me see. Where is it? If I need to download it. Whoops. Let me get the file. Okay, let me see if this works. Okay, here we go. Here we go. You guys have to kind of see it off. It's kind of like the size is a bit off. Sorry. Have you ever noticed that the PC building community is very opinionated? If you've ever been a part of any online discussions related to computer tech, whether it be forums, subreddits, Twitter, YouTube comments, you'll know we're some of the most passionate creatures on the planet when it comes to our glorified rainbow boxes. And I guess now metal boxes with wood trim, whatever it may be, these devices that let us watch cat videos and argue with each other over the internet, and I guess on some occasions play games. When it comes to being a content creator, I think it's in our nature to have strong opinions, whether it be popular or not. In this video, I've gathered some of your favorite content creators in the space to share with you our PC building and tech hot takes and controversial opinions. We've got an awesome lineup for you, so let's get right into it. Alright, so that's the upcoming collab. It may change who's in or not in the collab, depending on who gets their clips to me in a timely fashion, and any last minute additions, but there's over 10 people, so I'm looking forward to that. We haven't done one of these collabs in a long time. I think the last time I did one of these collabs was like 7 years ago. PC. We used to do these collabs a lot more way back when. But yeah, so the last time I did a collab like this was 7 years ago, December 2017. So over 7 years ago, like 7.5 almost. So yeah, it's just a talking head style collab video. So people, it's gonna be all the different PC tech YouTubers that I could get to join in anyways, to give their hot takes. All right, let me see. We are fifth. All right, grace period's over. Hopefully you used the restroom, got your drinks and snacks, because we're gonna get started on some of the topics of this week's stream. First one being the RTX 5060, which we already started talking about. So this is from Video Cards, one of the biggest, like, specifically PC tech hardware rumors and leaks and news outlets. But this was actually, so when was this posted? March 13th. So this was one day after last week's stream, because if you remember last week's stream, we actually looked at this article from them where they posted the supposed specs, but I mean, everything is marked as like a rumor and, you know, not final, right? And there we saw the 5060 with 8 gigabytes of video memory. But it is GDDR7, but 8 gigabytes, I think people are kind of, especially, you know, like some people were saying, we're kind of expecting 1440p gaming if you're going to be spending on a brand new graphics card in 2025, right? 8 gigabytes might be cutting it kind of close. I wouldn't mind 8 gigabytes if it came in at like a lot cheaper, like 225, 250 or something. But if they're doing like 300, 330, even 350, like I'm thinking that they're going to do, I don't need it to have 16 gigs. 12 gigs, to me, for a card at this performance level, I would be perfectly happy with. And that's exactly what this kind of leak shows. So the card did appear on a Chinese website. And when it was selected, it came up with the 12 gigabyte configuration. Now, I mean, this could be a baseless leak, right? This could just be the website, whatever the website was, just putting a placeholder VRAM value in here. So honestly, this is like a 50-50 chance if this is gonna be real or not. But I mean, it's just fun to look at and kind of hope and speculate if we're gonna get it or not. You would think, right, with the outcry in the VRAM, especially with the last, I wouldn't say the 3060 people are complaining as badly about it having only 8 gigabytes of VRAM, but the 4060 definitely. I mean, that a lot of people wrote off as trash tier, waste of sand territory, right? So you would think that NVIDIA would throw us a bone and make this new card 12 gigabytes. But then again, if you look outside the PC enthusiast circle, right? Like people who follow tech news and are super into it, versus the average person who goes to Amazon or Newegg just to buy a graphics card and don't really care about the specs. They throw it in their system and it just performs, and they're not like looking into the finer details of things. I don't know if the people who are more nitpicky and critical of this, if we make up as big of a percentage of NVIDIA's customers to begin with. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm actually kind of disappointed that, remember last week when we were talking about the 5060 and 5060 Ti, it was reported that they had like a media briefing on it already, right? So I was expecting actually to come into this week with more 5060 Ti news, and it's been very quiet aside from this article that came out like the day right after. So we'll see. Let's see what people are saying. Are we supposed to link NVIDIA again, creator? Wait, what? Are we supposed to like NVIDIA again, creator? Just 8 gigabytes of VRAM is low in 2025. 12 gig, yeah. 12 is is a 50% increase from 8, so it is pretty nice. Without frame gen, we can't hit those numbers on a budget GPU. Coding is just too sloppy now. Yeah. My issue is, like, I don't mind frame gen and all the other techs. I just want it to be available for all hardware and past gen hardware. I hate this locking it to just current gen stuff. So if you bought a card, like, you know, from last gen, you're screwed. Like, you don't get the nice bells and whistles and features, which we see a little bit more of from NVIDIA than AMD. Yo, what up, Logitech 772? What up, Shauner? What up? 5060 gonna have 12 gigs? I don't believe it. I half believe it. Because this even exists and there's a screenshot, it's like the Dumb and Dumber thing. So you're saying there's a chance, right? It's kind of like, this is one of the greatest movies of all time, by the way. But yeah. So you're telling me there's a chance with the 12 gigs. $37.99 CNY Chinese yen is $525, is it? So let's see, 3,800 CNY to USD. It is. That is very expensive. I don't know, you know, international markets. Like, what was the 4060 going for in China? Was it that much of a, you know, delta between that and the US equivalent? What up, Nemus Dark? What up, Hazard Me? Chinese prices usually post-tax? Okay, so 525. Let's take, what is the tax rate in China for electronic goods? 13%. China has 3 standard rates for value-added tax. 13. Let's just do 9 because it's between the 13 and 6. So 9, like close to 10%, right? So 0.9 times 525. That would be the equivalent of 472 USD pre-tax, which is still pretty expensive for a 60 series card. But then again, right? It's never a direct price to price translation. You know, US, we are so lucky that we have good prices. Hey, what's up, Big Toe 9800? Uh, 128-bit bus, so the only way is 3 gigabyte memory modules, the DDR7. Yeah, so if we don't know even the specs yet, right? These are all still speculation. So, but if this is true, then if it is 12 gigs, then I think it has a higher chance of landing around 350. They're not gonna give more VRAM than the previous generation for free. We're gonna see a price increase, and whatever reason they give for it, I'm just curious about how the card's overall performance is. Dispatcher Gaming, I actually have the article, I think, right here. So Dispatcher Gaming says 200,000 9070 XT sold so far. Yeah, that's one of the ones I brought up. But it's funny because I read it updated, right? So this story was published 8 hours ago, but they did a retraction, it looks like, because the update says AMD reached out to Tom's Hardware to clarify that no claims about sales numbers were given at the event. There was discussion about strong demand for the 90 or the RX 9000 series and X3D chips. But the 200,000 claim was not part of the conversation, according to AMD. The bench life page, which seems to have been the original source of the claim, has also been pulled. So this is kind of like a nothing burger news story, I think, because they've updated it to retract it, and the original leaker, or not even leaker, the person who quoted it, the original source was pulled. Whatever. I mean, I don't even hearing the number 200,000. We got Mike Brazone in the house. Mike might have. He's like an industry analyst, right? Mike, who shows up here every week and he's just talking like super technical stuff. Yeah, but I don't know what the volume of GPU sales are worldwide. So even hearing 200,000, that sounds good, but compared to other launches or previous generations, I don't know, is this how much better or worse it is. So made up number, but they keep the page up. Cool. Hey, gotta get the clicks. And, I guess, are there ads on, where's the ads at? I'm actually using Firefox this week. And I haven't set it up with ad block or anything. At least I don't think I have. Yeah, it doesn't look like I have ad block on. So where's all the ads? I don't see. Whatever this video was is blacked out. Or do I have ad blocker? Let me see. Return YouTube. Yeah, see? Wait, extensions. Dark reader. Return dislike adaptive. Yeah, I don't have ad blocker on. So I don't know if it's by default. This is the only add-ons I have. Adaptive bar color. Yeah. So I don't know why ads aren't showing up. So... Simon Lee, hello Danny. I finally finished my small form factor Form DT1 build this week. Nice. You got a picture of it? Post it to the Discord and I can actually pull it up. If you post it on build setups submissions, we can take a look at it. What up again, Chris? I saw it. I read your first comment at the start of the stream, but then it looks like you had to go back to work or start driving or something. Best case scenario is 200,000 shipped to / purchased by retailers, but not yet sold to customers. It's late here in the UK. Gotta get some sleep. Have a good stream, guys. Take it easy, Neil. Thanks for joining in for as long as you could. All right. I found this to be interesting. This was, let's see, March 14th published. I think Brett made a short about this morning. I think I just saw the short pop up. But this was from Friday. This article was published. So MSI skips. I wasn't even really paying attention to all the AIBs to realize that the 9070 and 9070 XTs were just not in MSI's portfolio at all. So they are among this article. 9070 and 9070 XT are among the best graphics cards. However, not all usual vendors have embraced their RDNA 4 series lineup. MSI confirmed that it chose to forego this generation of AMD graphics cards, which is kind of interesting. I think the way that this works is this wasn't like they decided last minute. This was probably, something a long time coming for whatever reason, right? Like maybe they chose to do this after 7000 series didn't sell as well as they had hoped or whatever. So I wonder though if MSI is now kind of shooting themselves or kicking themselves, because not shooting themselves, they shot themselves in the foot, and I wonder if they're kicking themselves because the cards, you could argue, are very successful. They're flying off the shelves. They're still flying off the shelves above MSRP. So I wonder if MSI regrets this decision at all. So let's read on to the article a little bit more. I love how they don't give many reasons. Just a very, very prompt statement. Regarding your question, MSI is not manufacturing AMD GPUs this generation. They're inferring that it encompasses RDNA 4 as a whole, so not just the 9070. It could be the next gen after. Wherever the core reason MSI isn't saying, and this doesn't mean there won't be future-based cards from the company. So that's kind of interesting. Did anyone out here have an MSI AMD card? What are the MSI models anyways? Let me see. MSI. Let's just look for something pretty reasonable, like 7800 XT from last gen. So the gaming trio, like what were all their models, products, graphics cards. All right, so they had their okay, I didn't want it to do that. Shadow, okay, Ventus, okay. And gaming series and Supreme. And then we have some of the newer gen stuff listed in here as well. Twin Frozer. That hasn't, I don't think that's been a thing for a while. I don't know what was the last MSI Twin Frozer graphics card. We're talking about, oh wait, was this, I don't believe this. Oh no, they did keep the Twin Frozer. Wait, what card is this? Did they still continue to call it the Twin Frozer, or did they designate it to the fan names? I could have sworn the card. I have a Twin Frozer card in the back somewhere, but I swear, looking at MSI cards, I was not seeing Twin Frozer in the last couple of generation of cards. MSI has 19 models for the 5070. Is that true? Wait, what happened to his? I still remember the HIS kind of reference style ugly blower ice design card. Okay, I will take a look at it. But yeah, for MSI, I mean, the Ventus, I guess. Let me see if I can find it on Newegg. I hate looking at the websites because they don't let me open up multiple tabs when I click on something. So let's see. MSI Radeon RX. What do I find? Okay, I'm finding armor cards from past generations. So the Ventus, oh, the MSI mech. Okay, yep, the mechs and the gamings. No 7000 series cards. So here's another gaming card. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if MSI is gonna really be missed. They only had 4 MSI models for the 7000 series. They were planning this for a long time, says Ellie Joseph. Yeah, now that you're saying this, I could see that. That's why when I'm looking stuff up from last gen, I'm like not even finding anything. I'm just finding stuff from like 2-3 generations ago. So, okay, that makes sense. So, I mean, it is what it is. Octavius. Howdy, bought an RX 580 for a recent build. Found 7800 XT on Amazon at 2 a.m. for $396. Bought it. Was supposed to arrive in 3 weeks. Went past the... okay, nah. See, this looks like a scam to me. So you bought... Wait, you bought an RX 580 for a recent build. But then you found a 7800 XT on Amazon at 2 a.m. for $396. That is not how much 7800 XTs go for on websites like Amazon and eBay. So looking at that, that's highly sus, because whoever that seller was, they didn't need to sell it for that cheap. If you looked at the seller, it probably was a scam account. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, 7800 XTs are still easily going for like $500 to $550. So to find it for $100 to $150 less for such a recent product, yeah, I would have called sus. So I'm actually not surprised that it did not arrive. And it said arrive in 3 weeks. So when it comes to these scams, one of the things that the scammers do is they promise delivery and shipment of it far out. That way, once you... I don't know how it works on the Amazon side of things. I would think that you shouldn't be able to retrieve your money from Amazon, selling through Amazon, until a product successfully delivers. So the old mindset used to be the scammers would say like, oh, it'll ship in 3 weeks to a month. That gave them time to like clear their account of the funds so that by the time Amazon figures out that they're scammers, they already, you know, extracted the funds. So to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense why I guess they said the 3 weeks thing to buy themselves time to scam you. But I'm not surprised that it was lost in transit and well, you said it was refunded. Was it refunded by the sale? Does the seller still exist? Does their store exist, or is it gone now? And Amazon, out of their own pocket, refunded you. See, a lot of details that we would have to know about. But yeah, that to me, that price is already sus. Yeah, it was $678, then went down to that price and went up the next day. Yeah, my first time doing a late delivery for something on Amazon. Yeah, just be careful. I would say the good thing though about like Amazon, eBay, to some degree Newegg, is that they are pretty good with getting you your money back. Sometimes you have to like make multiple phone calls or send multiple emails and stuff like that. But usually people eventually get their money back. I would say Amazon is the best of the websites that I listed for that. So, did any of us see this GPU craze coming? Is this a fluke or intentional move from the industry? That's a good question, actually. I did not see it coming. I mean, the last time we had something like this, it was way worse. So this is like child's play compared to the pandemic. And then the pandemic stacked with a resurgence in cryptocurrency. That was, I might call it right now, the worst time for like the PC tech space, graphics cards, and it was just graphics cards that was bad. Like CPUs, RAM, motherboards, power supplies never even got that bad. Like, yeah, just we're talking like mid 2020 through the rest of the year and like most of 2021. That might be the worst period in time to be a PC gamer and to try to buy a graphics card. And I hope my statement here stands and that we don't have a part 2 of that, like a 2.0 pandemic or a 2.0 global supply shortage. So Caden just tipped $1 through the donation link in the description, which means I get to keep all of it, which thank you, Caden, for doing that. I appreciate that. But Caden just tipped and said, hey, I recently was able to get a ROG Astro 5080 and Asus TUF 5080. Which one would you keep? What was the prices? I need to know the prices of them. Without even... I've stated this many a times, and I've talked about this in videos. When I buy a graphics card, I don't buy for the ultra premium, overpriced version from any of the AIBs. I look for the ones closest to MSRP, and between these two, the Asus TUF is closer to MSRP. I don't know how much you pay between these two, but I just have this feeling that if you're looking from a value per dollar standpoint, the Asus TUF 5080 is going to be the best bang for your buck because, I mean, the Astro one's like the most expensive, right? I would imagine the Astro card is like $200 more. So you got to ask yourself, are you getting that much more in the performance gains? And I don't think these cards are performing that much better, at least out of the box. Maybe overclocking potential, but still, between the two, the 5080 is a very powerful card. Do you need, I guess, do you need more performance or do you need your money? Like, I guess you could just scalp. Don't scalp. If you resell it, sell it at a fair price. But yeah, between the two, just without even seeing, I would have to look at the numbers, obviously. But without seeing the numbers that the two cards put up, I would keep the tough 5080 and pocket the money. But let's see, Kaden, did you answer at all? It came out to $197 more for the Astro after tax and shipping. So you paid $200 more for it. I mean, does anyone know the difference between these cards? Both for MSRP, but of course the Astro has a higher MSRP. I don't know. If you're buying these cards to be $200 is like, that's like a 4 terabyte SSD, right? You could, that's like $200. Is that a month of groceries? That's what, 40 bucks no, 50 bucks a week for at least one or two people. If you stretch your dollar, that could be a month's worth of groceries, right? $200 is not an insignificant amount of money for a lot of people. But if you're just balling out and you're like, you know, you make over 6 figures a year and you got your stuff straight, then sure, treat yourself out to the Astro card. But if money is like somewhat a thing that you have to be conscious about, then I would keep the tough card. Like for me personally, I wouldn't even buy these cards because they're out of my price range. But if I did buy one of the two, it would be the tough. So hopefully that helped. But I have a lot different of a mindset than a lot of people in like the enthusiast and tech space. Some people just want like, you know, the most performance you can get regardless of price. I don't think that way, so that's how my answer is going to be based. Yeah, $200 is a 4 terabyte SSD. Would you... Are you even going to notice the performance difference between these two cards if you didn't benchmark and do overlays? And then versus if you bought yourself a 4 terabyte SSD instead, would you notice the benefits of gaining that much more solid state storage? I'm assuming you don't have like, you know, a ton of SSDs. But I'm just trying to like, I like to think of money saved as what else could you have spent the money on, right? And spending $200 to get that incremental difference between a tough 5080 versus a ROG Astro 5080, to me is not worth it. I'm really only worried about the value per dollar with either. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody who's done a roundup video, but I would say, so what was the prices? You said MSRP. So what is the tough going for? Are we talking about like $1,200 and $1,400 that you spent, or is this like $1,300, $1,500? Let's see. So 1,500 over 1,300. So that's like 15%, right? 15%. The ROG Astro card has to be, oh my god. Okay, so 1837 divided 1640, so that's 12%. So the ROG Astro card has to be at least 12% or better to make it worth the value compared to the Asus Tough card. I don't know of any content creator who owns like every 5080 to be able to put these numbers together. So you have the cards, even you're likely not going to return it because they're so hard to get, right? So you could easily open both cards, test them out, just run some benchmarks, see if you're getting 12% or better, and then just sell the card you don't want on Facebook or OfferUp or whatever, because people are like really trying to buy these cards even above MSRP. Yeah, you have to do well, not necessarily frames per dollar, but like performance per dollar. Yes, you have to like in each individual test have to look at, divide the Astro performance by the tough performance, and just do it based off of average. I wouldn't worry about 1%, 0.1% lows, because then you start getting too much into the weeds in the thick of it. But just do the average. It's the easiest one to get like consistent results. See if you get 12% more frames, and that's your answer. Okay, you're saying from the videos you've seen, it's around 3 to 4% difference, which means keep the tough, get rid of the ROG Astro if you can. I don't know if many people are going to be paying $1,837 on the secondhand market even if it is completely brand new, you know, they're buying it from some dude on Facebook, so, or OfferUp, or some chick, whichever, some person, right? Yeah, that's my take on it. If it is even like 5% better, keeps it tough. Oh, okay, Kaden, you're in the Seattle area, so you're kind of near me. I haven't actually looked at the market here for it. You're in Bothell, okay. The video from this weekend was I picked up the GTX 970 and the 4790K in Bothell. That was in Bothell, so I'm right up the street in Lynnwood. So, value for dollar is redundant. Yeah, you need. I agree. It should be performance per dollar. Value. Did I say value per dollar or did someone else? Yes, you can just say value. If I said value per dollar, I meant to say performance per dollar. Because saying value already says it. Chris, thank you for the tip. Sorry I got to it late. I needed to finish OK Caden's thing. But just tip $2. Creator Clash 3 soon. Freddie Wong fighting Ginger Pale, whoever that is. I got Freddie. Also Ren from Corridors on the card. Wisdom just tipped $1. Hey Nob, I'm running a 6600 with 5600X. Looking to upgrade his GPU. Want to stay down. The AMD route suggestions much appreciated. With the 5600X, I think a 7800 XT, which is readily available right now, it was readily available. 70. Let me look at this one. This is a 7700 XT. Usually ships in 1 to 2 months. Wait, this is UK imports. What? This is coming from the UK. Yeah, I wouldn't buy it unless you're in the UK. Just last week, we were still seeing 7800 XTs and 7700 XTs in stock for near MSRP. But I would say from a 6600, I would try to grab something, or in the used market, if you can find a 7900 GRE, or even, you know, the 7900 XT. It's just, this price range is getting so crazy lately. It's hard to give advice. Let me check Newegg real quick. Do they even have 7700 XTs? 7700 XTs. See, this should be 450, but the lowest one. Oh, here we go. Open box version for 489. This isn't that bad. 500 shipped directly from Yeston. So, unfortunately, because these cards, remember, they came out at 450. The 7800 XTs was 500. These cards are a bit more expensive, but that's kind of what the market is looking like right now. So, unless you can buy one used, I would say if you can hold off with your 6600, it's still, I think a 6600 is still a decent card. I know you're probably like yearning for higher performance. If what AMD is saying is true and they're gonna resupply a bunch of the cards, and we have potentially more mid-range, or if you want to call them entry-level cards coming out in the next couple of months, I would say hold off and see what that's looking like, because I normally don't like to tell people to hold off, but that advice is extra like applicable when you are someone with really old hardware or building your first PC. Normally I would tell people don't hold off because you need a PC like to get up and running. But people who have a working PC, I am more willing to say just hold off a little bit, right? It's crazy right now. Even the mid-range segment is affected by the low inventory and price increases. I know we have potential tariffs coming up and things like that, but if you really don't want to wait, look into the used market. Try to get, you can even get like a 6800 XT. Those are old enough now that they might be decent value. So yeah. But hopefully that helped. But wait, or get a used 6800 XT or 7800 or 7700 XT for under 500 bucks. But Chris, back to your Creator Clash 3. I don't remember. The thing about Creator Clash, unfortunately, is that I feel like after the first one, because you even said Ginger Pale, whoever that is, right? Like the first one had a bunch of big names that most people knew, but then the following ones, like they start bringing in less, I guess, popular or less known people. And if they ever did a tech YouTuber boxing or clash, it's gonna be funny because there's gonna be a bunch of people probably that a lot of people don't know, because the PC tech space is so niche, right? Should you get a graphics card every generation? No, definitely not. I like every other generation, and if you can, push it 2 generations. What's your opinion on the RX 5700 XT as a used card? Great card. I love it. The most recent one I bought was $120. That was like a year or so ago. They have gone up in price since then. I think they average like what, 140 to 150 in the used market. But I think at that price, it's still a good card. It performs pretty close to a 6600. And for $150, that's like, I'm not sure you can do much better than that card. And it's so readily available too. You gotta hit like the combination of good price and availability, right? Because if there's no availability, who cares about the price? You thought that looked familiar? Yeah, that is. You probably recognized those shops in the background in that video there. In decline, I was scoping out XFX 9070 XT on OfferUp, and the buyer wants $750. I said it's cheaper at Best Buy, and the app is called OfferUp, not ComeUp. Honestly, a 9070 XT at $750 is pretty standard, though. They probably bought it for that much, right? So, because I think I saw Best Buy increase the prices after tax and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what... This is what's going to happen with the scalpers. If they don't return the cards, we're going to get to a point where the scalpers are going to have to make a decision. They're going to hit their 30-day return window, and they're going to either keep the card and gamble that they could actually still sell it for over how much they paid, or they return it. But I don't know, this person, maybe you can ask for a receipt, how much they paid. Chris, I do see your things. Freddie Wong, yes, from his channel is Rocket Jump, right? But he doesn't do that channel anymore too much. But yeah, I would always root for the people who I know of. And Freddie is like an OG YouTuber. Remember when he did that Key and Peele skit about like where they're peeling their faces off? Wisdom is in the UK watching at 1 a.m. I appreciate the support and staying up late. 5700 XT is a GOAT. Jason actually released a video recently, within the last week or two, about the 5700 XT. So definitely go check that out if you have not seen it yet. Anthony Tran, I will be using a 4090 for a while. I would hope you use the 4090 for a while because you bought the top end graphics card from just 1 generation ago. That should last hopefully a while. Do I buy complete builds? Once I get done with my new build, I'm looking to offload my old PC. No, I typically don't buy complete builds. Even if they're like really good deals, I would rather, because I can't really make content with it. But if I buy parts, I can use them to make builds or to like do like, you know, benchmarking videos on specific hardware. But buying a complete build, that's like half of my content already done for me. I guess if it was like a crazy good deal, and I'm not trying to get a crazy good deal from you, I'm just saying in general, like, I'm always browsing my Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, right? And I find good deals sometimes, like something that's maybe $100 or $200 less than it should really be going for. But I'm not in the business of flipping. So like, I don't want to buy something that is a good deal and then just instantly turn around and flip it. That's just not something that I do. And just like buying it, like a decent build, even if it's on sale, is still like, you know, hundreds of dollars. So for me, there's, in my particular use case, there's not much reason for me to buy completed builds. Unless I needed something real quick to like give to a family member because they're asking me to build and I don't have time for it, then I'll quickly look for like the best deal in my area, make sure there's no problems with the PC, and then just, you know, basically give them that deal or sell it to them for the same price. Like that, because I can make a video about picking it up, and then I get my money right back, offloading it. So, dude, we need everybody right now. We need to push Linus to put together a PC Tech YouTuber boxing event. Everybody else is doing it. We need to get in on that. And I'm sure there are plenty of creators who would love to participate, myself included. Do you think NVIDIA will bump up the MSRP? Yes, that is exactly what I said earlier in the stream. I'm thinking $329 if it has 12 gigabytes of VRAM. This is a really good question. But let's just pretend the 5060 has 12. It's hard to give advice when you're talking about cards that are literally like $200 different in price at this price point, because going from $350 to $550, that's like a 60 something percent price increase if you look at it percentage wise, or just pure dollar value wise. $200 on a originally $350, let's say it's $350 card. So this, of course it's going to be worth it to go to the 5070. It is a much way better card. No, it comes back to the value per dollar, not value per dollar, the performance per dollar spent. And without knowing the 5060's performance, it's hard to say. But what I have found is NVIDIA is usually pretty good at segmenting the different cards so that buyers with those specific budgets can comfortably buy those cards without much concern, right? So instead of asking this question, you should ask yourself, how much are you looking to spend on a graphics card? Because if you've got a budget of $600, which puts you in 50, 70, 12 gigabyte territory, why are you even considering a $300 to $350 5060, right? Unless you really are trying to save money. But then why were you even considering a graphics card so expensive to begin with if you're just trying to save money, right? So these questions are always pretty hard to answer, just because I feel like when people set their budgets and their limits, it's not their true budget limit and stuff, right? People are always willing to spend like, oh, they'll make excuses to spend just like a little bit more money here, a little bit more money there, and then now they're like spending an extra couple $100 than their targeted budget. Like in my videos, if you guys have noticed, I specifically try to remain within budget. I rarely go out of budget, before tax, of course, because tax is different for everybody. But if I say, all right, I'm targeting a $1,000 system before tax, I usually try to stay below it, or I'll even come in under like 50 to $100. And if I do go over it, it's usually by like a very minuscule amount. We're talking like less than $10 typically. So, yeah, hard to answer this question, but especially since we don't know the 5060 numbers yet. But I would say, depending on how much you spend, you're either clearly in one class of card versus the other class of card. Not many people are like trying to debate between the two cards. They're not close enough. Maybe if you ask this question for the 5060 and 5060 Ti, then it'd be like, okay, the prices are closer, the performance relative to each other is closer. That's kind of hard to answer, but we don't even have the numbers out yet, so I can't answer that. Loyalist BS aside, it's about frames per dollar, indeed. But also, some people do care about ray tracing though, and like, you know, multi-frame gen and things like that. If you want a future-proof card, you shouldn't buy anything that is less than 16 gigabytes of... I think 12 gigabytes is fine, depending on the resolution you plan to play at. And there's just a big price difference once you get beyond the 12 gigabytes. So, I mean, what does future-proofing mean? I don't... Here. Start a poll. All right. So we're talking about, the poll is, how long did you use your last graphics card for? Not the one that you're on right now, because you might have just upgraded. So the one before this, and if you didn't have one before, then just don't answer the poll, I guess. But I'm trying to see, we talk about future proofing and things like that. I don't think people keep graphics cards long enough for some of these things to be an issue. What is up with the focus? Let me see. There we go. But yeah, like, if you get a 12 gigabyte VRAM graphics card, like today, and you play primarily at 1440p, and you know, you're buying like a $400 or $500 card, so we're not talking about a card that can handle 4K, you are like strictly a 1440p card, I think that could easily last you the next 2 to 3 years, which is about the typical like upgrade cycle, I feel, but we'll see by the poll. Most people have voted 3 to 4 years. In 4 years from now, so that's 2029, do I think 12 gigabytes? I could see 12 gigabytes becoming a problem, but I don't know if that's as much on the card. I mean, I guess games being optimized crappily and just being VRAM hungry, like irresponsibly, we can't control that. We can only control what hardware we buy, which would be a card with enough VRAM. But I don't know. I think that you could just turn the settings down from ultra to high or medium high. Turn the textures down a bit. It's not gonna kill you. Mine is longer than 4 years, says Kale. I bought a 5070 thinking I was set. Now I'm only getting the black screen, so I went back to my 1080. Old Faithful still kicking. So you had to return it? Dang, that's bad luck. Getting brand new hardware due away? That sucks. It's 2025, 8 gigabytes of VRAM is slim, and why be stingy over an extra 4 and 8 gigs? Yeah, no, I agree. I think if every, I'm not even gonna say entry or mid-range card, I will say for any card that comes out brand new at $300 or more, they should have at least 12 gigabytes of VRAM. I think that's pretty reasonable, right? Whether or not we'll get that, we'll have to see. Indecline says, when people come to you for a build, do you order things with your bank or just send them links to order? You talking about like people online or my friends and family? If it's my friends and family, I'm usually building for them, so I'll just order it and then they just pay me. But if it's people online, yeah, I'm just sending them links. Most of the people in my life that come to me for build advice, it's because they also are asking me to build it for them, which I'm okay with. I like doing that. I can make content for the channel, so. What would you price this PC for? Gigabyte 1080 Ti, 7700K. Oh man, Caden, you are upgrading from, I mean, what era are we talking about here? That's like 2017, right? I don't remember. Is it 2017 or 2018 for the 7700K? 1080 Ti. It's like, we're talking 2016, 2017, I think, off the top of my head. It's starting to be 20. Oh, but then they were still, the release, I don't remember what the release is, but yeah, buying this stuff in 2018 would still be relevant. Yeah, okay. You got it in 2018. Let's see. 32 gigs of DDR4, Z2. Yeah, see, the issue, it is a good starter PC for a kid, but just based on those specs, what do you have in there in terms of the storage? You gonna leave any storage in there, like at least 500 gig SSD? Oh, so we're talking, what's the 1080 Ti worth these days? Like 120 to 140-ish? Is that right? What's that GPU price checker website? Do you guys remember? Like, it checked used and new market. Best value GPU. Is it this one? Yes, this one. Okay. Let's see. 1080 Ti. What are these going for? Where's the eBay listing? 175. Ooh. It's kind of expensive. Let me see. Sold listings. Sold listings ended recently. 2080. Why are you showing me 2080s when I'm asking for 1080? There we go. This should fix it. All right, so parts only, 240. Here's one pre-owned for 140 plus 20, so like 160 after delivery, plus tax, of course. 150, 170. So these are like March 19th, right? So a lot of these cards are still moving to this day. Oh, here's one pre-owned, good ratings, $20 delivery. Yeah, so 120 plus, so 140-ish. Okay, so I was like in the ballpark. So that honestly, I like old graphics cards way more than I like old CPUs. Especially the 7700K. That's 6 core, 6 thread, wasn't it? 7700K was... No, 4 core, 8 thread. Sorry, I was wrong. I think I was thinking about the 8th gen i5s. 4 core, 8 thread. For its time, it performed. But now... This is like the equivalent of... It is worse than a modern day equivalent of a Ryzen or i3, right? So... But the 1080 Ti still is killer. Like, 1080 Ti, great. So for your build... what would I value this? Like, 40... Plus the 30, 70... 200... So it's 300... Plus the RAM... I mean, and you've got the power supply, motherboard case, everything, storage to go with it. I would think a build like this goes for anywhere from, depending on the market, 400 to 500. Not knowing the full details of it. If anything, this build, the most valuable things in it are the graphics card, the storage or SSD, whatever it was, and the power supply, and the RAM. Those things are still very valuable today. But the platform of, you know, the Kaby Lake and the i7, it's just, you're at a dead end. There's not much room to grow. Chase Atwood says, VRAM is a selling point. Why give it to lower cards? NVIDIA, quote. I want so much VRAM, we can load the game into the card. Could you imagine that? Especially games like Call of Duty. What is the biggest game to date right now? What game takes up the most storage space? PC. Is it Call of Duty? With everything? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 can take it up to... Okay, I don't know. These Google AI, it'd be missing sometimes. I don't know. With the biggest file sizes, thegamer.com. Okay. Destiny 2 is 87. Not bad. Metaphor is 90 something. Okay. Path of Exile is 100. Really? The new Path of Exile is 100 gigs? Kinda crazy. It would be, yeah. I mean, didn't we, that one card from that crazy Bolt Zeus, whatever, it had DIMM slots. Last of Us is 100 gigs. Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition is 110. Indiana Jones is 120. It's gonna be Call of Duty, right? Red Dead is 120? Oh my goodness. How did we get to this point? Flight Simulator is 130 almost. Oh, just got a super chat. Let me get to that in a second. Black Myth Wukong's 130. Borderlands 3 is it 135? Halo Master Chief is 140. My god, these games are so big. Marvel Spider-Man is 140. Starfield, I did not realize Starfield was 140. It's probably why. Starfield was such a... I hated benchmarking that game. Starfield, maybe one day I'll go and play it after like years of patches and fixes, but I did not have fun playing Starfield for the limited time that I did play it. Forspoken's 150. Oh my god, it just keeps going higher. I thought it would be around 150. Baldur's Gate is 150. Final Fantasy Rebirth is 155. I'm taking this as is, by the way. I'm not like fact checking it. I would assume this website looks legit. So Final Fantasy 16 is 170 gigs. Black Ops Cold War 175. Medal of Honor. Okay. Okay, God of War. I did not realize it was that big. I could have sworn it was smaller. Now I'm questioning it. My ARC install. Well, don't you have a bunch of mods probably? 223 gigs? This is ridiculous. For one game, you're taking up a fifth, almost a quarter of your. Not even. It's more than that because SSDs aren't, you know, the full, you know, 1,000 gigabytes is like less, right? So, oh my gosh. Modern Warfare 235. Is this it? Is this the end of... Nope. There's ARC. Okay, 400 gigs. What the heck? What the heck? It doesn't get any bigger. No, that's it. So, they did say ARC is the biggest. But Warzone is 235. So, I thought it was Warzone. I did not know ARC could get bigger than it. Is this with mods? The game has a bunch of expansion packs and maps, but they contribute greatly to the huge size of half a terabyte almost. My goodness. I'm surprised GTA didn't make this list. I'm pretty sure GTA is 100 plus gigabytes. But anyways. Okay, sorry. 9Flyer with the $5 super chat. Thank you. VPA came in so clutch. Got my 5090 and sold 4090 FE for 2,500 free upgrade. You were able to get the 5090 for after tax and everything 2,500 or less. The VPA, that's the that's that thing that alerts you and you can pay for a subscription, right? Let me see. I think I've seen this thing. VPA graphics card, or is VPA something else? Alerts? Is it alerts? No. Wait, so what is VPA? What are you talking about? Oh, priority access. Okay, you mean NVIDIA? Okay. Yeah. Should we tell everybody about this? Or should we keep it a secret? No. Yeah, NVIDIA prior... I actually signed up for that, was it a week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, so... You could sign up for... Do I have to be, like, logged in for this? Oh, no, it's not NVIDIA. It's verified priority access. So you can sign up for kind of getting into, like, a queue, a line thing. I'm not going to sign in because I don't want my stuff to pop up. But, yes... I mean, it's kind of like, is essentially like the lotto, right? There's so many people signing up. There's no guarantee you're going to get a card, but why not? It's free. But yes, verified priority access. Sorry, I was thinking that you were talking about one of those alert websites, which they have subscriptions for those so that you can get the text messages or emails faster to buy graphics cards. People are paying websites to run bots or to give them instant alerts for graphics card stock. This isn't a new thing by any means, but it's just for us to have to return to that after the pandemic and then things were kind of going good for a bit. It kind of sucks. I hate this reality, says Jason. I kind of hate this reality too. I need to drink my water, my goodness. Y'all gotta keep me hydrated. I gotta use the emotes. Yeah. Mike Brazone, I have all the AMD and NVIDIA by SKU and Gen trade in trend. If anyone wants to know what is being traded in the last days plus dedicated GPU workstation sales. Mike, good to see you in the stream. We were talking about that article about, do I still have it up? That's not it. The AMD sales that was quoted 200,000 RX 9070 and 9070 XT sales. But I had mentioned at that point in the stream that, well, first of all, this was updated to be not a verified number. So it was a rumor, but let's just say it was real. I don't even know if these cards have been out for what, 2 weeks now? I don't even know if 200,000 is like normal. Is that above average, below average? Like, do you have any input on these numbers? I think all their founders cards are going to this program because Best Buy hasn't dropped any more founders for like, yeah. So there is a Discord server. If you guys didn't know about it, we're gonna drop all the secrets so that nobody can get graphics cards. The Falco Drin Discord community. The Falco Drin, they were the ones who came up around, I think, around the pandemic time frame, or maybe even before that. But they talk about the different drops and 5080 drops. So let me take a look at this channel and see if I can find any Best Buy. Best Buy, walk in Best Buy. It's been like that since February. Best Buy, AIB models available soon, but I don't see any AIBs. Founders, FE. But yeah, I have some email alerts set up to specific stuff, as well as like this Discord pings me, and yeah, I think you're right. I have not seen people successfully buy FE stuff, and if they did, it must be like very low numbers. Where did you sell it, Nine Flyer? Did you sell this in person? Did you sell your 4090 like at a, you know, some parking lot or police station or something? Or did you sell it online? I'm glad I got my card so I don't have to deal with all the shenanigans. Yeah, same here. No, I didn't get a graphics card, but I am content with what I have here, you know, in the studio. So the parts actually to the build update is actually sitting right behind me. I wanted to get the build done by today, but because in case something went wrong, I was going to do the build yesterday, my build update, and then use it for today's stream and then make the video for it. But I decided like, it might not be a good idea if for some reason something goes wrong and my computer is down. And it's not like I can't spin up a second computer or use a laptop for stream. It's just on the OBS side of things, it would be very inconvenient to have to get like all the plugins and like settings and scenes and all that stuff. So I was like, so I'm going to do it tomorrow night, or tomorrow, not tomorrow night. I'm going to do my build tomorrow. That way, if something goes wrong, then I can, dang it, I got to take this call. Sorry guys, mid-thought. But that way, if something went wrong, I have a whole week till next week's stream to figure it out. And spin up a new system. I got to take this call. It was important. Sorry about that. Just family, medical related stuff. There's nothing that like I can do, but I was just getting updates on some stuff. So it's not like I have to like run and go or do anything right now. But let me see. It's just something that comes with older age. Like, you know, as family members start to get older, I'm starting to hit that age where my, like, you know, the generation before me, like my parents, aunts, uncles, and stuff, the health issues are you know, coming in pretty quickly. Like, so that's just stuff that everyone has to deal with it. So, man, just looking back, I remember back in like when I was in my 20s, there's like almost zero health scares and zero health issues with like most of the people in my family, aside from like grandparents and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like aunties, uncles, and parents and stuff. So it's just something that I guess in the last few years became more of like a common occurrence, and we just, you know, just navigate it as we should, so, or as we can, as best as we can. Yeah, definitely gotta look out for your old folks for sure. Hello, son. What was the anti-itch cream for sensitive lower areas called again? Yeah. But let's see. What were we talking about then? GPUs going up in value like property and paintings. Only temporarily. They're going up in value, but by the time like 1 or 2 years come up, usually they go down in value. This last generation was kind of like an anomaly where like 4080s and 4090s are still selling above MSRP, but that's not the usual case. The lower end stuff isn't really doing that as much. Dispatcher Gaming says, what GPU do you have, Danny? So in the system right now, running the stream, is the Intel Arc A770. I had the 4070 Ti in there for a bit since the LAN party, because I needed a little bit extra power from that. But the A770, and then I'm going to be upgrading to the B580 that I picked up a little bit a while ago. So I have a limited edition B580 that's going to be going into the build update, and the rest of the parts are kind of sitting there. Let me show you the parts, because I'm excited about them. I guess I'll just show I'll show the part for this, the actual parts. But yeah, so like we've got the CH160 from Deepcool going back to the handled case. Very excited about that. Also banned hardware, at least from being sold in the US. And then we've got the AK620 digital. This is the one where on the screen. So this has there's like connectors here. Not sure if you can you see that? Yeah, see there's connectors right on this side. So those connectors, there's the like 7 segment style bars on here that reads off the CPU temperature, utilization, clock speeds. What else is there? Temperature, utilization, clock speeds, and percentage usage is what it is. So I'm very excited about doing this build, because going back to my case right now doesn't have a handle on it. So going back to a case with the handle is my ideal situation. As well as I've been using an AIO for a while now in my last 2 vertical tower cases, because with vertical towers, you can't fit like a full tower. So you either use low profile, which has limited cooling, or an AIO. So being able to go back to a fat, chunky air cooler, like I like air coolers, if you guys didn't know. I prefer air coolers over AIOs. So being able to go back to that because the case can support it, I'm excited for. So Citrus with the 33 months of channel membership. Citrus, glad to see you are actually. Do you get these notifications even if the stream isn't going on, or like if you're not currently watching the stream, to be able to leave this message? Or do you have like are you like every time when you do these monthly comments, are you actively also watching the stream? I join and I just see it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Sometimes if you don't join in, then you don't really see it. Okay, got it. But thank you for joining in and coming to hang out. Speaking about handles on cases, we need a Cooler Master Half XB refresh ASAP. Rewatch that build video again. Bro, my friend David has not even picked up the system yet. I have it right here still. He hasn't come up to pick it up yet. Well, it's because I don't live, like, I live the furthest away from the rest of my LAN friends. So, like, he hasn't made time to come pick it up yet. But I still have this, the build right here. He hasn't come to get it yet. But yeah, no, I love this case. Bring back the ASMR build videos with the next one. Ooh. The thing about the ASMR build videos are kind of annoying to do because I have to constantly switch the camera angles to show what I'm doing. And then like I have to put the mic up there and stuff. And I don't remember when I last did an ASMR video, but I don't think they started. I had some that popped off, but some of them didn't perform that well. Let me see. Nerd on a budget YouTube. If they performed better, then I would bring them back, but they kind of don't. So let me see. ASMR. I made a playlist. I don't know if I've updated this playlist though. Oh, yeah, this I think this is the one. The one that I did for my friend James. $2 super chat from Ed Droid. Ed Droid. I've only had 5 GPUs in the last 13 months. That's a lot. For some people. For most people, I would say. For super enthusiasts, yeah, that might not be a ton. But yeah, the last time I did it was almost coming up on 3 years. Wow. Where does time go? My goodness. But yeah, like this one, this one did decent. It got 36,000 views. But you could imagine you're constantly like moving the camera around to show every little thing that you do. I don't know, maybe. Okay, no. I'll bring the ASMR build videos back, but it won't be for this one because this isn't a full build. This is like, I'm replacing half the parts. I'm keeping some of the stuff in my system. So I'm going to be doing transferring, and I don't think that really works as good as if I'm building something from the ground up, from scratch. So I'll bring back the ASMR builds for when I do a complete build with new parts. I don't know if people care about old used parts, ASMR builds. But yeah. Alright, Mike Brazone with some numbers. AMD equals 9% up all cards. / Blade share all AMD products available in period gains. Okay, AMD is up 60 days. Okay, I don't server stuff. Some more server stuff. Do you have the, I guess, more numbers in a more digestible form on the consumer side, Mike? They have the Fantex NV9 for how much on Amazon? I think it was Kevin Ngo who was very interested in this one. You said it's for sale for currently unavailable. NV9 Premium. Oh, this one right here. And it's shipped and sold by Fantex. What does it comes with? What does this one come with? Included 4 LED modules. This case is normally way more expensive, right? Though, well, yo, what's up with these low ratings, though? 6 ratings. Probably 1 bad rating, and the rest of them are pretty good. Let's look at the ratings. Okay. After a few months, uneven lighting. It's a shame, they say. See more reviews. Oh my gosh, I have to sign in? My goodness. But for the price, that seems pretty... Yeah, Fantex had an interesting approach with this case. With the slanted bottom here. On the, at least on the exterior side. But, I mean, see, what I don't like about this case... Where's the rear? Can I see the rear? I'm guessing the power supply goes up top. I don't remember this case specifically. I remember when it was mentioned, but let me take a look at the back side. There it is. 1990 knots 331. Welcome to the Nerd on Tight Budget. Thank you for your support. Okay, so we look at this. So the power supply, yep, that is the chamber for the power supply up top. This is me being nitpicky. Obviously, you bought the case. It's an all personal preference, right? But NZXT did this a little bit too. I'm not a fan of these halfway jutted out, like, big sections that are just kept empty in cases. So, NZXT PC case. What was that case model again? Give me a second to find it. Components. Oh my god, he's going to NZXT's website. They're horrible. They had a... what's it called? They're trying to rent out PCs to people. They're the worst company in the world. H7. The new H7. Yeah, there it is. Okay. This... So... The way that they're doing it on some of these cases is they're trying to, like, do a dual chamber system. So instead of having a traditional power supply basement, right, at the bottom here, they have this thing that, so this case is wider than a typical mid ATX tower because the power supply sits sideways in the chamber behind here. But it's very similar to the Fantex case if you take a look at it, right? This upper space is like this halfway jutted out thing that otherwise is kind of useless space. Where I liked the older... I just like power supply basements. You tuck cables in there, you know, it separates the power supply. This is like half of the power supply sticking out into the main chamber being covered up with this panel. So these two, I don't know all the cases that do this, but I've noticed that there's kind of a trend moving in that direction. And to me, it just seems like an inefficient use of space. But I understand why they're doing it because it allows for more fans at the bottom, which otherwise would have been blocked off by a power supply basement. But I would argue that I don't know if adding that many more fans makes that big of a difference to the majority of people out there. Maybe if you have some extreme use case where every little fan helps, but for the average gamer, dude, just the rear exhaust, front intake, and maybe top exhaust, like that covers everybody, or like 99% of the people. Slim PSU? Nah, not necessarily slim. They fit or I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else, but these chambers fit full-size ATX PSUs. They're turned sideways. That's why they don't stick out completely, but they do stick out. And you don't really use the space for much else other than holding the power supply. I'd say the Landcool 207. Where's that thing? I love how you guys are mentioning things and I'm pulling them up. Is this it? Yeah. So, the Landcool 207 is a pretty interesting one. And I've moved the components in it already. But yeah, the Landcool 207, if you guys can see if I can hold this up without it falling over and breaking completely. Oh! But there's the power supply. They kind of moved it to the front, and they have two fans down here that allow it to push air up. So you still have a power supply basement. You move the power supply up front, and you still get your bottom intake, because on the back, there's also this opening for those bottom basement intake fans to do its thing. So, yeah, I would agree with you. Thanks for bringing that up. I totally forgot about that, and I actually just did. I recently worked in that case not too long ago. So, I want to build in the Cooler Master NR200P. Have they updated that case? Didn't they just do like a color update or something at the most recent Computex or CES? One of those. What is the newest NR200 case? Mini ITX. Let me take a look. On their website, V2. I'm guessing they put USB-C on this thing. Yep. So they got the one USB-C. What does mine look like? Let's see. Where is this thing? I have the NR200 somewhere, I think. Where is this thing? You guys can still hear me? Oh, okay. I'm not gonna be able to pull that out. It's wait. Oh wait, yes I can. Okay, let's see. I like the NR200. I don't even know. I need to keep better inventory of some of my stuff. It's such a mess down here. But okay, like, do I even have? Oh, I have a whole motherboard in here. What system is in here? I've got a B450 motherboard in this NR200 with. So my version is not USB-C. So I built in this thing like a couple years ago. So no USB-C here. And I just kept. Do I have a power supply in here? I do. So I have a SFX power supply that I can use for something. But I like this. The only thing I wish they did with the NR200 was put a handle on it. Just give me a nice handle right here. And then I think it's like the same size. Let me see. Compared to this. Oh, actually, no. Look at that. The C160 is actually a little bit smaller. A little bit thicker, though, width-wise, on the C160. But, What do I think about the Form DT1? Oh, yes. You posted that. Let's take a look. Your build. Or the person who built... let me see. Bug Arsonist. Wait, Bug. Are you 9Flyer? Bro is hoarding all the precious ITX parts. I don't sell ITX parts. I keep ITX parts. They're like expensive enough and rare enough that I keep them just in case I need to do like builds or like reuse them. I'm not trying to buy like small form factor power supplies over and over again. They get expensive. and motherboards. So yes, I do be keeping them. But all right, let's look at this build. The Form Form DT1. So this is a 9950 X3D 5090 build. Okay, so let's take a look. So I mean, again, very similar, you know, lunchbox, lunch pail, form factor there. Okay, wow. I'm trying to see what's going on up here. You guys see that, right? I wish this picture was slightly zoomed out a bit more, but maybe some of the other ones can show it better. Oh, here we go. So this is looking pretty clean. So where's the final build with everything in it before it's closed up? Yeah, I would have liked to see this picture zoomed out a bit more just to see what so here's the power supply. They put these grills on here because it's such a small cramped space that, you know, the cables are gonna run in and get caught in here unless they have these. But I'm trying to see, like, was everything just like smushed in? Lithin Nguyen says, or Nguyen, says, "Hey Nob, you inspired me to build in its form factor, in ITX form factor." I'm guessing you're trying to say. Did I inspire you? My personal builds have been ITX for a while now, but I don't do a ton of ITX on the channel just because ITX is just more expensive. I don't know how interested people are in seeing ITX builds. Plus, the people in my life, like, again, you guys see me, like, hoarding PC parts, right? But those are old and over the years. Most of the time, when I'm doing builds and stuff, they have to go somewhere. I can't just hoard all of them. You can see I'm already hoarding a bunch of stuff already. So, I'm trying to get better about, I'm, like, doing builds, I need to find a home for them. And with ITX, I don't know, like, most people just don't value ITX as much as, like, the enthusiasts or like us as the builder does. To them, what's the CPU? What's the graphics card? How does it perform? They don't really care about paying a premium for ITX. So it's hard for me to build ITX systems if I can't move them. Most of my friends and family, they just want the most bang for buck value, and that's not going to be ITX. And I don't know how successful people flip ITX systems in the secondhand market, but it's just a higher risk. So that's why I don't do a ton of ITX builds unless it's like my own personal build because I personally like it. But it's definitely not a staple or standard of the channel. But yeah, Indecline makes a good point. ITX is a premium market. You're using specialty motherboards, sometimes specialty coolers, and specialty power supplies. I like micro ATX because it is pretty close to size. You know, it's a little bit bigger than ITX, but the motherboards are usually cheaper, even cheaper than full ATX, and they could use full size ATX power supplies. So yeah, I definitely like micro ATX the most. And I wouldn't be opposed to having one of my future upgrades or complete new builds being in an ITX, not ITX. I wouldn't be opposed to it being in a micro ATX tower. I'm a fan of the form factor. Are old PC parts becoming like collector's items? Some of them. I would say Founders Edition cards, definitely. Like, let's take a look. Let's look specifically, because I am on the hunt for this. 1080 Ti Founders Edition. But I refuse to pay the ridiculous prices of these. So if you want a Founders Edition... Oh, this one's pre-owned. Oh, this one's not bad, actually. Oh, no, this is a 1080. I want a 1080 Ti. I want the biggest, baddest card of the generation. 150. Wait, for parts? See, so you can get a 1080 for a reasonable price. But I want a Founders Edition Ti. And those are, first of all... it's really hard to find these even in the used market. So you gotta go to like, you know, websites like eBay, which has a lot more posts. But then you're looking at prices like this, $230. I'm not paying that. I'm gonna wait. But the thing is, I don't know if the price of this is gonna go down drastically or much at all, given that it is a collector's item at this point. And if it was gonna lose value, it should have already. Like, this is the lowest available one listed on eBay. This is very telling about how valuable these cards are. Not because of their performance. For 230 bucks, you can get like a 12 gigabyte, almost a 6700 XT or something. So the thing is, I think if you look for non-Founders Editions, then they'll be cheaper. So let's take a look. Parts only. Oh my god. Stop. Used. So these ones are a little bit more readily available, but it's an EVGA one. I guess with EVGA being gone, it's kind of rare, but it's not as rare as the Founders Edition one. So always takes longer to sell ITX systems on Facebook Marketplace. You got it. Oh, you're talking about PC parts from the Pentium and before era? I think those are like dirt cheap. Like old graphics cards. Let me see. I actually haven't, like, I feel like I have a GTX 280 in working condition. This card exactly. So this is 50 bucks, which for its performance is not worth it, because you can buy an RX 580 that kills this thing. This thing has 1 gig of GDDR3 video memory. I have this exact card. I need to go dig it out somewhere and make a video on it. But this was my first graphics card building a PC with my own money back in 2009. But so these, it's not as ridiculous as the $200+ 1080 Ti, though I think these have pretty much kind of hit a price floor. Like they're not gonna get much cheaper than like 40-50 bucks if they're functioning. Parts only ones, yeah, they'll go for less. But wow, look at this one, almost 90 bucks. But yeah, I forgot how much I paid. 200 and maybe 80 or something for mine, I think. I'm trying, or Robert Fix is trying to do a Vista build with the GTX 260. I remember distinctly when I was shopping for PC parts and I bought everything on Newegg. I was looking between the 260 and the 280. I cannot recall back in 2009 what websites I was looking for information regarding the difference between the two cards, because I'm pretty sure there weren't really channels running side-by-side benchmarks, or at least I wasn't aware of them. If I had to guess, I'm thinking it was Tom's Hardware or like Hard Forum or one of those places where I was looking at which graphics card should I get. And I think I almost, was there a GTX 280 that didn't have 1 gigabyte of VRAM? Was there a 768? Let's see, 280, 768 megabyte VRAM? Or was there one with less than let me see, VRAM. Yeah, I think they did have one that did have, and I was like, I remember distinctly there was a price difference. I don't know how much of a difference, but between the 1 gig and the non-1 gig card, I think eventually I just splurged and got the 1 gig card, just to, you know, get the best thing I could get at the time. But man, this was what, 16 years ago ish. Once it's done, I'll have to show you if it's period correct or not. I don't know anyone who can remember that far back, lol. Yeah, Tiger Direct, it's still a thing, but I think it's just business now. We looked at Tiger Direct not so long ago. Dang it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to record this new video if my voice is, and my throat is this scratchy. Oh no, it did sunset. Wait. I could have sworn we went to Tiger Direct Business like not even a year ago. But like officially, it's gone now. Yeah, they were acquired by Insight, and I think they still were running from the TigerDirect.com domain. Wow. Kids have it easy these days. They were mainly forums back in the day. Yeah. And forum searches when they limited you and like had CAPTCHA and stuff like that, it was way like now. Okay, I'm gonna say this now because I'm gonna end the poll first before I get onto this thought. Ending the poll. Most of you said you keep your cards to 3 to 4 years, and I am. What the heck did I do with this? 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Okay, so 3 to 4 years. So you guys are definitely the budget kings, right? Stretching your dollar, making it, last the longest. But going back to it, talking about PC help and like just discourse and stuff on forums. I've been hearing in recent years so much about how bad Reddit is and how toxic and a cesspool and everything. All that aside, though, Reddit is the best place to get any kind of like advice, questions, troubleshooting, any of that. Anything you want to ask, like I'm going to make something up randomly right now. X870E board not displaying Reddit. You type that, anything you want to look for plus Reddit, you will find usually one, if not more, posts of people with the exact same problem as you. So, for as much as people hate on Reddit, Reddit's been around for a long time, and I think at some point it definitely peaked, and then now, and then after that, it kind of got a bad reputation, especially for like being an echo chamber and stuff like that. But regardless of all of that, I think to this day, whenever I run into troubleshooting problems, I type in problem Reddit, and that's how I solve stuff. Reddit isn't bad for quick advice. Yeah, you're right. And a lot of it is usually quick advice. Actually, I would say from what I've seen and looked for recently when it came to any troubleshooting or anything I had to look up, Reddit is pretty on par with forums because aside from like the super hardcore people, like, do you guys use forums anymore? Like, here's a new poll. Do you guys read and what? Do you guys participate? Actively participate? Do you actively participate on traditional forums anymore? Let me think. I don't think I do. Like, we're actively, not like you make an account just to get your answer and then you're done. Like, do you post at least once a week, if not multiple times a week, on a dedicated forum that's not Reddit? That's not Reddit, right? We're talking about traditional forums. Tranditional, even. I can't even spell traditional. Tranditional. I remember forums when you had to put a disclaimer when the pictures were too large for dial-up. I mean, I grew up using forums around the dial-up. We're talking 2004, 5, 6-ish. DSL and cable had definitely been out, but I feel like a lot of people are still on dial-up. I do not remember these disclaimers. Or maybe I did, but I didn't realize it because I was the one who was, what's it called, that it was for. Was that like the little red exclamation mark or whatever that you had to click and then it would load for you? I think I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah, I think I do remember that. They wouldn't automatically load images unless you distinctly clicked on it, right? Man, Tiger Direct is where I got my defective Lenovo Y5070. Yeah. I've owned that laptop back early, like in 2016, 17-ish time frame. I think my purchases from Tiger Direct was definitely nowhere near as like extensive as Newegg. I could probably count on both hands how many orders I've bought from Tiger Direct. But Newegg, I've bought many a things over the years. Kids these days never have to install drivers from a CD. I mean, motherboards have stopped coming with CDs for the drivers, right? It's funny because I've run into situations recently, like either my mom asking to burn CDs, or my wife recently when she had to get a like medical imaging scan. Do I have it? Wait, I think I have it with me right here. Let me see. I do. Everything we talk about on this stream, it is relevant. So this, okay, I just want to make sure there's no information on it. This CD is from a medical center with my wife's medical images on it. I do not have, I think I probably have, I don't have a laptop that has CD drives in it anymore. And we all know that pretty much cases nowadays don't come with drive bays unless it's, you know, the Cooler Master Half XB. I'm sure I have a drive somewhere that is SATA connected and I could like put it into a system, but that's like so inconvenient. So I haven't backed up her medical images yet. But yeah, CDs are just not really a thing that people deal with anymore. But when you do have to deal with it, because it's not integrated into like the PCs and laptops, and you gotta buy like an external CD player from Amazon for like $20 or something. I need to buy one of those because I'm not trying to have to install a SATA, you know, SATA power, SATA connector, CD drive into some random build just so I can get these images off of the CD. PC advice is the only good thing about Reddit. I think the cat subreddits are pretty cute too. Cats, animals, some uplifting subreddits, but do not go to the political subreddits. If you want your mental health to deteriorate, and sometimes world news too, like that. I mean, it's you should be kept up to date on some of these things, but in terms of like draining on your mental health, yeah, it could bombard you with that stuff. Can a 7600 XT video edit? It can, and it can do so and render better than a CPU can. Off the top of my head, I don't know the numbers. You should check Puget Benchmark. If you have any question about video, I guess Premiere Pro, I think they do, I think they also do DaVinci Resolve. Do they? Yes, Puget Bench for DaVinci Resolve. So they have, let me see, Premiere, like let's just look at Premiere Pro, right? So if you want to look at the database, user submitted results on Puget Bench, you just type in, so a bunch of people test it on their own systems and then it gets submitted to the database. Even I have stuff that's on here, but all you have to do is like, let's do last year, put 7600 XT, right? That, you put that in, so this is a 5800 X3D 7600 XT system. So they give you your scores here, which we can open up in the new tabs. But then you could look up like how much, you know, better or worse is an NVIDIA. So 7600 XT, that's going to compete price-wise with around a 4060 Ti, I guess, or 4060. Let's just do 4060. Because the 4060 is cheaper than the 7600 XT, but I think it might perform better. So we put in the 4060, can I put in multiple things? Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, the only thing is the searching for specific hardware is kind of annoying, but let me see if I can find a 5800 X3D or 5800X or anything. There's multiple pages. Can I show 9800 X3D? What is around a 5800 X3D? That's the only difficult part about Come on. So we got some Ryzen 9s. Even if I don't find an X3D, if I can find like a 5800X, I'll be happy with the results. But, so, I'm not going to do this on stream. It could take like a little bit more time. But you could search and you can compare scores, right? So they have different scores here. Overall scores. I guess if you look at the GPU effect scores, you might be able to ignore the CPU effects in it. The overall scores are gonna have CPU influence. So that's why I was looking specifically for a 4060 paired with the 5800 X3D. But then there's also the memory and speed. All I'm saying is the information is all out there. You just have to spend a little bit of time digging. But yes, a 7600 XT can video edit. It might not be the best, like, in terms of speed per dollar spent, but it can video edit. I video edit on AMD graphics cards, like, all the time. When will the 7600 XT be cheaper? I don't know if it will. The way the graphics card market is looking at, like, right now, everything is, like, normally you see a trend of things decreasing in price over time, especially with last gen cards. Right now, everything seems to be on a freeze and even increased a little bit. I don't think I've seen any graphics card that is remotely usable sold brand new. So we're talking like 40 series NVIDIA, 70 series AMD, because anything older than that, I guess the 6600s and 6600 XTs are kind of being sold for brand new, but those prices have increased. So nothing is lowering in cost right now. Everything is holding steadfast or increasing. So I don't think you're going to be able to find a 7600 XT for any cheaper than it is right now. Yes, and Coalition Gaming Chris brings up a good point. He's video edited on laptop with only Intel integrated graphics before. 1080p was fine. You could completely export your video and render it using software encoding off of your, if you have a decent, which most people kind of have. It's easier to have a decent CPU, I feel, than it is to have a decent graphics card. Like, a mid-range CPU is something like, what, an i5 or a Ryzen 5 that's like $200. A mid-range graphics card, by today's definition for people, is like a $600 graphics card, right? 500, 600. So, the barrier to entry to get a decent CPU is a lot lower than a GPU. I feel like Reddit replaced traditional forums now while not being as good. I like the fact that Reddit, because on Reddit you can bookmark, you can upvote things, you can leave comments and stuff, right? To multiple communities all in one place with one login. That's what I like about Reddit. Back when, forums are still a thing, but I don't know, like, is the forums community in general, are forums still, like, would you consider them very active and lively in 2025? I don't really go on forums these days, so I can't say. I guess, like, forums like the Linus Tech Tips forum is actually very poppin' and popular. But I guess I'm talking about, like, the old school tech hardware forums. I don't know. Compared to Reddit, I don't think it has nearly as much traffic and traction. But I like it because whether I want to talk to the, like, Gamers Nexus subreddit, or the Linus Tech Tips subreddit, or the PC Master Race one, or the hardware or hardcore overclocking one, it's all on one account. Like, I'm not having like 4 different logins with different passwords with different password requirements that I'm always forgetting, and then I'm doing like a password reset, and then I have to add on to my old password, and then they're like, you can't use your old password, come up with a new password. Like, one login, multiple communities, the ability to save bookmarks across all of them, and to upvote and leave comments, and to have a history tracking all of that. To me, that is a lot more convenient than the forum system was. But yeah, if anything, I used to go into the forums for games, like the World of Warcraft forums. Any MMO I was playing, I would be in the forums. More so than like for PC tech and hardware. I think a lot of people really overestimate what you need for editing. Unless you're working with 4K footage off an expensive camera, you're fine. This is true. Yeah, again, like the example that Chris gave, just editing off of some probably mid-range Intel mobile CPU with integrated graphics is fine. Maybe if you're doing like After Effects and a bunch of crazy like layering of stuff and like things that can actually use the hardware on graphics cards, but if you're doing that kind of work, you definitely need to step up your hardware game. But if you're just doing, even my videos are pretty basic. They're just like cuts, some overlay, some B-roll, some text. Like even my videos are very like simple that I don't need a super powerful system to run and do. At LTX, Chris, you know what the funny thing is? I just recently came across that video again, just randomly on YouTube. Picked up the 6800 XT for 360 the other day. Tyler the Boss. That is a boss pickup, I would say. Yeah, 6800 XT, aka the pre-7800 XT for 360. Great price. Awesome price. Yeah, see, Chris, what I'm doing is, as you may have noticed, I'm going back to make YouTube shorts out of old videos. Some like the one that I posted recently, and I was in that, around that time frame, I was looking through the footage. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, dang it, it's on my external, so it's gonna take a while to load up. But yeah, I was just watching all the LTX footage again, LTX 2019. And it was a good time. Let me actually, I might pull it up because this is like footage people might not have seen before. Let me see. Wow, we are 2 hours and 10 minutes already through stream. Okay, so I'm gonna say end poll. Most people don't actively participate in forums anymore. Almost 9-to-1 ratio. HDZ77. I haven't used Reddit in a long time. YouTube now has all the types of info. Yeah, the thing is, HDZ. I also go to YouTube for information, but like if that information is embedded somewhere in a Gamer's Nexus 30-minute video, versus being able to find that information with a control find on a Reddit post, like I know like video kind of became the more popular medium to consume this type of information, but I still value like written text based information or like hardware like reviews and stuff and outlets and stuff like that, news outlets. I still it's kind of like when online replaced traditional like newspapers and things like that, and then people are like, oh no, YouTube is replacing online written stuff. I think they both are equally important, but yeah, because with YouTube, it can be annoying to find specific information sometimes. Who has activate Windows on the bottom right? Okay, what is everybody's thoughts on the mask script? Activation. Linus made a video about this. I'm just gonna show it. I'm not like condoning or advocating for it, but like in this day and age, given that Microsoft is already getting all your information anyways, you could argue that that Windows should be free, even though I'm not sure if that would hold up in court. You could make an argument that we are the product, so why even pay for Windows? And if you can convince yourself of that, then it is very easy to not have that Microsoft Activate Windows in your bottom right using a number of methods, right? One of the most popular ones is you can buy actual CD keys that were probably meant to be sold to third world countries. And you've seen these gray market CD key websites. I've even had videos promoting them. And for 15 to 20 bucks, you can activate it and be on your way. Or I think Linus covered in the video. I don't remember what he said specifically about it, but there's another way to not even pay any money and do it. And it's using tools built into Windows itself. This isn't downloading a crack. This isn't downloading fake keys or anything. So I don't want to get in legal trouble. So I'm just going to look at this and let you guys, if you're interested, do further research. But okay, let's run another poll. How did you activate your Windows? I always forget to run more polls throughout the streams. Is your Windows activated? So let's see. Yes with retail key. Yes with gray market key. Yes with pirate/mass. No. So let's see what people's Windows activation status is. I think we are going back to smaller communities and no longer the public timeline, says Jason Whitmer. Either Discord servers or Reddit, etc. Wait, what? The public timeline? Let's see. What do you mean by Jason? Conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. Small. Would you see? At first, I thought when you said smaller communities, so you're saying Reddit and Discord servers? Yeah, because they're subreddits. But forums, forums for the most part, unless you, I always join like specific forums, right? Like for a specific game, which would be the equivalent of a specific subreddit. But were there forums of just like life, like Twitter? So if you think about Twitter, right? Twitter just encompasses everything. It doesn't really subsection. I guess they have those weird town hall thingies or whatever now. But if you go on Twitter, you can pretty much access anything and everything of every subject and topic ever. It's not really like discretized like subreddits and discords are. But when you're talking about, I think we're going back to smaller communities. What was the larger community if it wasn't Reddit? See, like before us going back, you know, as you're saying, we're going back to smaller communities. But what is it that we're leaving to go back to these smaller communities in discords and subreddits? Is it just Twitter and maybe YouTube comments? I grabbed a gray market key for like 10 bucks 6 years ago, never ran into issues. Yeah, gray market keys for the most part don't really have issues, and if they do, I've never had issues with them. But people that I have heard had issues, all they do is hit up the company again, and they'll just give you another one, because even though they're selling it to you for like 10-15 bucks, they're getting them for like $1. So they don't like, they'll give you a replacement one if you have problems, and it's not even gonna hurt them, their profits. I have activated from genuine and gray market. I have a retail Windows key and a pirate USB just in case. My dad bought home an old decommissioned office computer from work and had, yeah, that was a way to get it too. And it's funny because people used to do that to get from Windows 7 to 10 for free, and now you can do that to get from 10 to 11 for free. So back before 10 was like the mainstream and it was still more like in beta or testing started to be adopted, what you could do is find like some old Dell Optiplex or HP or Lenovo or whatever office tower that you bought, you know, for like 25-50 bucks on OfferUp or Craigslist, and they would always have like a Windows key sticker to it. You could use that key to install that version of Windows and then go through Microsoft's upgrade from when they let you upgrade from like 7 to 10, and then that key essentially activated your 10. And you can do that now too. Last I heard anyways. If you buy just some old junker hardware with the sticker, with the Windows 10 sticker on it, and you use that and it activates, then when you do the upgrade to 11 on your system, not that junker system, but you know, the more new system that you're using that is 11 compatible, it will automatically be updated. But let's see what people say. Yes, what? Y'all know when I say retail key, we're talking about like $100+ Windows keys, right? Like that is what a Windows like 10 retail key. Wait, are these? See, I'm not talking OEM keys. Digital Pro, lifetime activation, product key. See, this, when you look up retail key and this pops up, these cheap keys are not retail keys. These are OEM keys. And you know that because they specify lifetime for one PC. A retail key, you could activate when you like switch motherboards and CPU and stuff. You don't get hardware locked and you can activate it on your next upgrade. These OEM keys, they only work for one, I think it's to the motherboard, right? It only, it detects, all right, this key is to this motherboard. Then if you take your SSD out and move it to a new system, it's going to become unactivated. For some reason, from the poll results right now, 47, almost half of the people saying they activated with a retail key, which means like $100+ buy from Newegg or directly from Microsoft key. Let me see if I can even find them. Yeah, like these are retail keys right here. These are retail keys, not OEM, not gray market. So did some people answer wrong, or did a bunch of people just spend $100+ for a retail key, or got a student version? Don't tell anyone I use my Microsoft, what, MSDN Windows 7 Pro key. What is MSDN? Oh, developer network. Okay, yeah. Microsoft's ridiculous. I think people answered wrong. I think what people did was they got a key, but it was a gray market or slash OEM key. No, yeah, retail keys, the reason they're so expensive is because the key can go with you between multiple builds, and it's being sold, you know, in a first world country, at the prices what they're supposed to be. But that's why nobody buys these, because you could buy 10 gray market keys and use them on 10 different computers at the same time instead of buying one of these. Last key I got came with the new computer. Oh yeah, if you buy a new computer, they'll come with the key usually too, pre-built. I found a Windows 7 retail key software key at home. Well, and upgrade to 11. Nice. While that they sell it to you for $200 and still pump in full of ads and beg for you to subscribe to their services. That's a good point. Okay, so last 5 to 10 minutes, because I got to figure out dinner and hang out with Melissa. She just got home like 30 minutes ago. So for my new build, I'm getting ready to migrate over to Windows 11. Now I say migrate, not upgrade, because what I'm going to be doing is installing fresh Windows 11 and then slowly rebuilding and moving files over, because I'm not a fan of using Microsoft's built-in tool to upgrade from like Windows 7 to 10 or 7 to 11, especially on an OS that I've had running for like 2 years. Let me check again. We checked this on a previous stream, but about my PC. When did I install this? I installed this, the Windows 10 I am on right now, on June 2022. So we're coming up on 3 years. And 2 to 3 years is typically when I do a fresh, clean slate wipe of my Windows. And Windows 10 end of life is coming. There's way to like get around that. There's way, if you use like Enterprise Windows 10, then that support is like maybe 3 or 4 extra years. I forget how long. But I am not super opposed to Windows 11. I already use it on actually on a laptop. I have Windows 11 on my laptop. I kind of use that as like a test run of if I'm going to be okay with Windows 11. And I don't think Windows 11 is that bad. with regards to just like using it, in terms of any performance decrease due to it, like either the scheduling or, you know, depending on what hardware you have with it or anything else that's going on in the background, like, yeah, sure, those things could exist, but I'm not a person that am constantly watching my overlays for how much FPS I'm getting in compare. You know, like if I lose like 5% because it's Windows 11 versus like the most optimized version of Windows 10, I don't care too much about that. Like it's not like if they continued Windows 10 support without having to do any of the jank workarounds or like having to, you know, go over to Enterprise, I would be okay with staying on 10. But with end of life coming at the end of this year, it seems just easier to just go to 11, and I'm gonna finally do it once I get this built and I can move everything over. Robert Fixes says, woohoo, Windows 11. Robert, how many months are you on that now? Yes, this is exactly it. Exactly, the Smash TV network. If you're going to Windows 11 and you want this to be for a long time the last stop, get a Windows 11 Enterprise key up front so that you are just set for the long run. But yeah, or if you're building it, let me see, Windows, let's look this up, even though we're supposed to end stream soon. Y'all always got me going on these random adventures trying to talk about and look for stuff. Let's see, Windows 10 Enterprise end of life. Oh, is it not Enterprise? What's the version? Brian from Tech Yes City did a video on it recently. Let's see, Tech Yes City. What's the version? If you work in IT, just use their keys, not actual life advice. Okay, let me look at this one from Brian. Windows 10. I think was it this video 7 days ago? This sounds familiar. Oh, wait. No, what the heck? Why did it just go to my stream? Okay, oh, was this not the video? I think it might have been an older video. Let me see if I can find it. Unless you guys can tell me which version of Windows has the longer support. I could have sworn it was this Windows LTSC. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Support end of life. Okay, yep. So that's a enterprise. Okay, enterprising LTSC. So long-term servicing channel. There it is. Receive extent. Let's see. Edition. So depending on the edition, I guess there's multiple versions of them. I haven't done a ton of research into this. I just remember like watching Brian's video and I was like, oh, that's one of the solutions, it looks like. So yeah, with some versions, so anywhere from 2029 to 2032, which gives you another 4 to 7 years on Windows 10 if you have one of these longer term versions. But yeah, I mean, you could just, if you're building a PC soon and you still want to stay on Windows 10, you probably are going to have to look into that option, or get Windows 11 with one of the longer term support channels or service channels rather. And then you'll be good for, I mean, when did Windows 10 even become a thing? Like, when was it officially released? 2016? Was that it? 2015. Officially released the manufacturing. Okay, 2015. Okay, so we got 10 years ish. 10 years out of it. So if you want another 10 years from something, maybe look into that for Windows 11. Windows 10 service is ending soon because Windows 12 AI is around the corner. 11 isn't as bad as people think. Windows 10 feels like XP, not gonna lie. Bro. I don't think I have Any Windows XP. Yeah, I eventually upgraded all my XP stuff to 7 because I got back my original laptop that I got in 2007 when I started college. And I was like, oh man, I should check this thing out. But then I'm like, wait, I eventually upgraded that to 7, which is not as exciting. So I would have to find a Windows XP ISO and key and install that and look into like compatibility issues and stuff like that. So I think I've in the last few years I have used something with Windows XP, and I'm not sure I would say 10 feels like XP. I think if you look at it with like rose tinted glasses or like, you know, reminisce on it, then yes, it feels like it because it was an operating system that you liked and you wanted to stay on it even though the next thing that was inevitable was coming. But if you actually use XP, like right now, if we put a Windows XP system in front of you, if you don't use it day to day anyways, I think there are pretty stark differences in the most basic of things. Like just being able to go down to your little Windows icon on the bottom left and just type in whatever and it'll either pull up automatically files or programs. Like XP was great for its time, but I definitely could not use it day to day today. I think I have an XP disc. When I started college, the college I went to, University of Washington, because you know Microsoft is here in Washington, they gave you like the whole suite of Microsoft Office stuff for free, So I got Windows XP and 7 through that, which was really nice because you know worth like actual retail keys. And as well as Microsoft Office, I burnt this ISO to CD, and that is somewhere in a CD case. Remember CD cases? Or no, CD binders. The binders where you like have the sleeves that you put them in. I have it in a CD binder somewhere, so I would have to dig that up. But even if I digged it up, it would be a pain because I would need a CD drive to install it as opposed to just running it off of an ISO image anyway. So there's that. Only OGs know about, yeah, so when I was using XP, I was using 32-bit, so I was originally limited to the RAM limitations, and what was that, like 4 gigs? Let's see, Windows XP 32-bit RAM limit, what was it? Yeah, 4 gigs of RAM. Do you guys even remember that? Actually, when did the RAM limitations between 32 and 64-bit go away? Because I've been using 64-bit, I think, since Windows 7. But yeah, I remember I had 32, and then my laptop that had XP on it, it was such a weird 3 gigs of RAM. I don't know why I got that configuration from Dell. It was just, I was too cheap to pay for the 4 gigs. And it seemed like a reasonable upgrade from 2 gigs. So for a long time, I had 3 gigs. But then I was like, wait, I could just buy 8 gigs later and upgrade it. But then I had 32 gigs and the limitations, so I had to reformat, etc. But yeah. No love for Vista. I used Vista for a little bit. And then I installed XP. My laptop came with Vista. Stream is giving me nostalgia. I'm going back to Windows 2000. Dude, I have no problems with Windows 11 Pro now. It's good on my gaming computer. I'm amazed. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be... I think it's not as bad as people think. We love to get attached to this operating system that we've been using for like almost a decade, right? But eventually, I feel like... Weren't people complaining when the push from 7, or I guess 8... from 7 to 10, they're like, no, I don't want to go. And then, like, everyone adjusted and it was fine. It's going to be the same way for Windows 11. People are going to, you know, eventually upgrade. And then 10 years from now, they're going to be like, oh, no, don't push me to Windows 12. Please, let me stay on 11. So, it's just, like, the cycle. Most of our generation are old grandpas. Thanks God, most of us still look teenagers like Daniel Law. $10 is available, and it's still the same limitation. Can you imagine in 2025 using an operating system? I guess if you're talking about like in schools, they have those not Chromebooks, but like the equivalent of Chromebooks, except not with Chrome OS, but with like Windows, right? I guess if you're only just using it for school browsing, 4 gigs is enough. What is on your jacket? My sweater? My hoodie? Like, is there something on it? Or are you talking about the design? The logo. Is there something on it? But if you're talking about the design, it's SK Hynix. Which is... They got acquired, didn't they? Do I have that right? They got acquired by Solidigm? What happened to SK Hynix? I have selective memory. I knew this at one point in time. Oh, it's the reverse. They got Solidigm. Okay, yeah. Yeah, SK Hynix. They're still doing stuff. Okay. Yes, I mixed that up. They still sell laptops with 4 gigabytes RAM. And 64 gig storage. Ooh. But those are like the super cheap ones usually. Don't get Windows 11 home version. It sucks. Yeah, I usually go with the Pro. I usually stick with the Pro variant or better. Danny, how are Jack in the Box tacos still 2 for 99 cents? Are they even real? I was never a huge fan of Jack in the Box tacos, but I was not aware. I did not know they did not increase the price. It's like the Costco hot dog. Still, after what, 20-ish years plus, 20 plus years, I swear Jack in the Box tacos have always been that price. Make sure to turn your phone off on October 25th because your whole family is going to be calling you about Windows 11. I think it'll be fine. We'll see, actually. Robert, when that time comes, or it'll probably come sooner because they're going to get more and more and more notifications from Windows leading up to that day. So yeah, like a month before that, make sure to bring this back up again. And I'll let you know if my phone, it's ringing like crazy due to it. But, alright, it is starting to actually hurt to talk now, and I'm getting, like, pretty, I'm dying. Thank you all for another fun stream, as always. I don't think I'll have any long-form video this weekend, because I don't think there's any way I could get this built and tested, and a video edited and finished before the weekend, so that'll probably be next week. But, yeah, I hope you all have... I'll release, like, more YouTube shorts and stuff like that, and maybe clips from the stream. But, yeah, no long form this week. Unless, somehow, if everybody from the collab sends me their submissions and clips, by Friday night, I could get the collab video out. Either Friday or Saturday. But, you know how difficult it is to get, like, 13 other tech content creators to record something and send it to you. It's very difficult. Everyone has very busy and hectic schedules, so it's totally understandable. But yeah, so unless that happens, there is no long form video this weekend, and it'll be next week. But I hope you all had fun this stream. Hope you're all doing well, and have a great rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. Have a great rest of your week, and have a great weekend coming up. Yeah, Discord server link should be below. We do have a Discord server for those of you who are newer here and don't know that it exists. I pop into there usually every day, and it's a pretty small community, so you know, it's not super crazy hectic and moves at 1,000 miles per hour. So if you say something, people usually see it and can respond. But otherwise, y'all have a good one, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.